Today we're going to be talking about the dark side of rank and rent, and I decided as a catchy title said what the gurus won't tell you. I'm going to actually be talking about the downsides of rank and rent. And there are downsides, and anyone that tells you that they have a business model that has no downsides is lying to you. And this is not going to be one of those calls where, hey, here's a fake downside. Like, oh, the downside is you're going to not know what to do with all the money that you make. It's not going to be some cheesy thing. I'm going to talk about legitimate downsides, but also why, even despite the downsides, I'm still choosing to go into this and to make this my thing. This is the thing that I'm paying my bills with, this thing that I'm basically betting my entire future on. And it has helped me escape the rat race and what I'm using to build wealth. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about legitimate downsides of rank and rent. So I don't want you guys to think this is some clickbait. We'll get into it. And maybe some of the things I talk about scare some of you guys off from starting the business model. But I think more than anything, what you should realize is that despite what we talk about today, look at what I'm doing and realize that I am in this, and this is what I'm building my future wealth on, etc. So that's what you should pay attention to. But I do want to get into some of that stuff. So couple quick things. Number one, I started this group to add value, and I want you guys to know that I'm not doing these calls just to check a box. Yesterday, I want to again apologize. We didn't post a teaser post, and we didn't send out an email, and I thought we did. And the team, it was miscommunication. I owned it. There was anyway internal confusion, and I hopped on, and there was like 4 people on. And I thought we had done all of the things that we normally do and let people know that the call was coming, et cetera. And I was like, dude, if no one's going to show up for these calls, I'm not going to do them. But then I found out that we actually didn't do our job. And so that's why. So that's why we ended up pushing it till today. So, but typically we're going to do this call every single week on Tuesday at the same exact time. But it's usually on Tuesday. Okay. But the point is, I am doing it with this group what I teach inside of my Digital Landlords program, and it's what is the key. It's how you win in business, and it's how you win in relationships, and it's how you win at life. At least what I've discovered. And I don't know everything, and I don't want this to be some rant, but like you have to. Everyone's coming in asking something, right? Everyone's coming in with an open hand. They want money up front. They want no risk up front. They want the deal up front. They want you to sign here and give them equity there, and no one wants to give value first, and so my whole shtick with this group, with the way that my sales process, the way I was able to scale, my digital real estate agency to 7 figures inside of a quick, short period of time is by adding value, giving value up front. And then after I'd earned the trust, that's when the transaction happened. Okay. So inside of the actual process, we give leads, we give value up front before we expect anything. Before we even expect somebody to give us their time, we give them value up front. And that's why it works. And that's how we gain the trust. And that's the thing is the hardest objection to overcome in my experience. I don't know everything, but in my experience of doing sales for over 10 years is that trust is the hardest objection to overcome. So my whole purpose of this call, my whole purpose of this group is very simple. I want to add value. I want to show you guys that I'm willing to earn your trust before any transaction happens. And let's make no mistake about it. The reason why I have this group is because I know that people are looking for alternative ways to make money. People want to start a side hustle. People want to get out of the rat race. People want to not, bet their future on their boss liking them or them having a specific political view, etc. People are starting to wake up to that and realize they need to make their own money, and they want to be able to travel the world, and they want to be able to have, everything else, financial freedom, speech freedom, all these things. And so I understand if you're in this group, because I don't invite anyone to this group, because I'm not running ads to this group, because every single one of you is here on your own accord, in some way, shape, or form, you're interested in starting your own business, your own rank and rent business. And so for me, my whole job is that I want to expose you to this business. I want to give you guys free value because I know that you guys are looking for tips, tricks, strategies, etc., to get started with this business. I'm going to give you the free value. And then I know that a certain number of you at a certain period of time are going to eventually buy something that I offer. And right now, obviously, a lot of you guys, if not all of you guys know, I have my community, Digital Landlords, right? I don't talk about it a ton. I don't whatever a ton. I just know that once I give enough value, that the transaction will eventually happen. So guys, take a look at what I'm doing, not just what I'm saying, and realize that's the case. Okay, I've been doing this free call now. I've been doing this for over 2 years, showing up every single week. There's been times when I've changed my calendar. There's been times when I've done it late at night when I've been, in the bush. And what I mean by that is like out in the villages, and I've come back to town. It's been 10 o'clock at night. I've been exhausted. I'm like, I have to do the call because I've consistently wanted to show up for you guys. So anyway, guys, I will continue to be here in 10 years. 15 years, etc. But that's why we do this call. So thank you guys for showing up, because that's why I keep showing up. Okay. Real quick, guys, we have a free training. It's at rentsimplesites.com. Let me go ahead and just drop the link. Let's see. Daniel Sturm said it's not working for me, so I guess I'll catch the replay. I'm not really sure why it's not working for you, bro, because can everyone else hear me? If you can hear me, let me know in the comments really quick so that I can keep going with some confidence here. Daniel Stern, maybe it's just you. I don't know. Mark says, good morning. What's going on? Yeah, let me know if you guys can hear me really quick, and I will continue this call. But I believe we'd have more people that would be telling me that if they could. Okay, everyone can hear me. So I'm guessing it's just, yeah, okay, boom, 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 boom. It must just be you, Daniel Sturm. Anyway, so guys, rentsimplesites.com is a free training that I have, and we're thinking about either turning it into like its own product, like and actually selling it, because I'm seeing that people don't value. It's continually reaffirmed to me that people don't value what they don't pay for. So we're thinking about doing something different with it, whether it's selling it, turning it into its own product, or just repurposing it all together. But we're thinking about moving away from that free training. So I just want to let you guys know it is up right now at that link I dropped, rentsimplesites.com. I think the only thing that we require is, I think it's your email. We might ask for your phone number, which of course, if you don't want to receive stuff from us, then that's fine. But go ahead and grab that right now because we are getting ready to do something with that. I just want to give you guys a fair heads up there. Okay. Again, the whole purpose of that is free value up front. You guys get into it, you watch it, boom, you're like, okay, boom, I like the idea of this business model. Where can I get more? And then you consume more and you consume more. And eventually you're going to get to a point you're going to go, well, you know what? Instead of me trying to pick this and pick that and spend all my time, let me just get into his program. And that's the whole game. And I'm not trying to hide that. So, but it is a great training, and it does give a good overview of our process. And these are like 5-7 minute videos. I think there's 7 or 8 of them, if I'm not mistaken. So go ahead and check that out, rentsimplesites.com. Okay, last thing really quick, and then we're going to hop into the call, is last week, I think it was, or maybe it was the first of this week, I made a quick post and I said that the next, we're tweaking stuff all the time. We're changing stuff all the time. We're trying new angles. And we're working on something right now to add additional value to the people that join our program. And so I made this post last week that the next 5 people that do end up joining our program, we're going to give away 5 free done-for-you websites. That's going to include the homepage, the service pages, the location page, the content, the on-page SEO, the domain itself, etc. We have 4 of the 5 spots filled since we've actually put that post up. So if you've been on the fence, I said this last week, but I forgot. I'll try to drop a link to the application. You should be able to find it really easily. Maybe I'll just make it, I should be able to find it really quick. Hold on. Because I know last time I said I was going to do it and then I didn't. And here we are. So yeah, if you guys want to, that's something that we're testing right now. Again, I understand how this thing works. I'll drop the application right now. It's timing. Some people, they think they can do it on their own. They got to go and try it on their own before they realize exactly what value we're actually giving them. I completely understand that. But for those of you that are on the fence, this would be a great time to grab free 5 websites while you're at it that our team will do completely done for you. Okay. That's it, guys. Last thing, actually, the very, very, very last thing is I want to share something on my screen really briefly, and we will get this call started. Okay, give me just a second. I want to share something on my screen, something that I like to do here. So let me get rid of this. I'm gonna have a million windows open here. Hold on. Oh, wait, no wonder my thing is so slow. Okay, I think this will work. Let me just share my screen really briefly, and let's do this thing. Okay, here we go. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. Beautiful. Okay. Guys, I think I said this last time. I showed you guys, it was part of an email, but we don't sell, this isn't like something we're pushing or some revenue stream. I have, I think like 6 or 7 different pieces of merchandise that we just gift to people. Funny enough, this is I'm living in Sierra Leone right now, so this looks like it's crazy. This is actually the price, $1,735. I think it's like right around like, I don't know. I don't even know what the conversion is off the top of my head. This is if you were to buy it. But I just wanted to show you guys, this is our new little merch design that we just came out with. So I'm going to be giving away, this is the new one. I'm going to be giving this away throughout the call. I'm not showing you this link because I want you guys to go and buy this stuff, because I want to be able to show you this because I think it's a dope design, and I'll be giving away some of this during the call today. So I like the design. I think it's cool. And what we'll do is, if you end up winning some of the merch, you will just reach out to Fix It Felix, and Fix It Felix will send you a code. You'll go put your size in, and you will be off to the races. Okay. And it'll just come to your house, etc. Okay. Let me find the my Facebook comments, and then let's do this thing. Okay. Where are we at here? Somehow I somehow lost it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. With that said, guys, I think let's see. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to be giving away merch throughout this thing. Yeah, let's do it. I'll probably ask a question or two throughout this. Here's what I'm going to ask, and then I'm going to take my favorite answers or the answer that stands out to me. I want to know, and I'm going to ask this, and you feel free to answer. Again, I'm going to choose a couple answers and give away some merch here. What do you think is the biggest downside of rank and rent? What do you believe is the biggest downside of rank and rent? And I don't want to be negative here, because that's not what this call is about. I want to be real. As we get into this call, I want to know, what do you personally believe is the biggest downside to rank and rent? The business model of building simple websites in simple home service niches, ranking them on Google, taking the leads, forwarding them to a business owner, collecting a check, boom, 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 and scaling this thing up. On paper, it's the greatest business model ever. However, as you start to get into it, as you start to test it, as you start to actually do it, you'll notice there are things that need to be addressed. There are concerns, as any business model. There's downsides to regular real estate. There's downsides to investing in the stock market. There's always downsides. If there's not downsides, it's a scam. Okay. So we're going to talk today, and we're going to be completely real on what the actual downsides are of this business model. We're going to address them. I'm going to tell you guys why I'm still confidently moving forward and building my business on building my future on this business model despite these downsides. Okay. And this isn't a gimmick. This isn't cheesy. What are you going to do? The biggest downside is, what am I going to do with all this money? It's not one of those. Legitimate downsides we're going to talk about today. Okay. Raymond says, prideful contractors who think they know it all. I have dealt with that. Emily says the learning curve. Drew says anxious business owners. Michael says getting over your fear of sales. Peter says dealing with contractors that are broke and don't see the value. Lamine says finding the right city and finding the right service that you will be selling. Kevin says can be isolating because you're on your own. Okay, I would agree. That's also true of any online business, but it's definitely true. Ron says getting GMBs for your sites, it used to be easier, which is also true. Okay. I'm gonna give some swag away to our first winner is Michael Liu. And the reason why I like that answer is because it's real and it's true. And a lot of people have this fear of, oh my gosh, how am I going to sell? I'm terrified of the phone. I'm terrified of calling people. I can't imagine picking up this cell phone and actually making phone calls. So thank you for being real. Thank you for being genuine. That's a real fear that more people than you would think actually have. So Michael, I want you, if you're on this call still, Michael Liu, message Fix It Felix. Fix It Felix will give you a code. Enjoy yourself. The Landlord Drip 4 that I just barely showed you. Okay. What else we got? Steven says Google algorithm changes that change the business. Most recently, needing reviews over everything else on your Google business profile to rank. Even more so, getting reviews locally or getting your GBP shut down. Fair point. We're going to get into that today. Kev says, biggest downside, learning what gets you on the first page. That's a fair point. That's learning the basic SEO skills, how to actually get on page one. And Bruce says transitioning from a 9-to-5er into an agency owner. Okay. Being a business owner. And I would say, yeah, these are all good. I like all of these. Okay. I'm going to give another swag away to Stephen McCartney. Because that's one of the ones that I'm going to talk about today is the Google algorithm. Okay. And I'm going to be talking about why I'm still pressing forward, but it is something that of course I've considered. Of course, it's something that we should talk about. So Stephen McCartney, I like that answer. More about the Google algorithm. The GBP stuff did change, and we all know that, but luckily it didn't affect my business because I haven't really built my business on GBPs, but it did definitely get more challenging. So anyway, Stephen, you're also a winner of the swag. Great answers, guys. With that said, let's jump into this call today and let's talk about what the actual downsides are. I said the dark side. I thought it sounded a little more catchy. What are the dark sides of rank and rent? Okay. So let me first start off by telling you guys where this actually came from and why I decided to talk about this. I'm a big believer in assets, right? One of the reasons I love this business model is because it's asset based. Drop shipping is not. FBA is not. Okay. If you guys don't know what these business models are, then you can go and do some research. We'll talk about it later dates, but I'm not going to get into it. Having an Etsy store, is not, I guess in a way, if you have a product, it can be. Anyway, you name the business model. Facebook agency, right? Facebook ad agency, SEO agency, right? These are not asset based. You are trading your time for dollars. And yes, you own the business, but you are at the end of the day trading your time for dollars. And if the client quits on you, you have nothing to show. Okay. And we've all been there. I've been there. I was at Disneyland one time, lost a $4,000 per month SEO deal. And at that time I was making $10,000 a month, 40% of my revenue gone. Imagine when I was actually at SeaWorld going to Disneyland the next day. You're sitting there going, dude, those churros, those $5, $10 churros are looking a little more pricey. You know what I mean? So anyway, that said, guys, I'm a big believer in assets. And my long-term game plan is as follows. I am using rank and rent. I am using digital real estate. I am using website rentals, all the same thing. For those of you that are new, we kind of use these terms interchangeably. Okay. I am using this business model as my core strategy for number one, paying all my bills, getting out of the rat race, which I have successfully done. Thank goodness. Okay. Where I no longer have to work. And then taking the excess cash and putting that into additional assets. My main target being physical real estate, and my main physical real estate. Inside of physical real estate, there's different types of real estate. I'm very interested in commercial, and there's a multitude of reasons on that, but I'm very interested in commercial. I own a few commercial properties. I'm still cutting my teeth. I know nothing compared to what I know about this business. I know nothing compared to like probably a lot of you guys, but I'm taking the cash from this business and I am putting it into physical real estate, specifically commercial real estate. Okay. And as part of that, I have been actively searching. I have been actively looking on the different websites. I've actively been talking to commercial real estate brokers in different parts of the country, specifically in the city that I spend most of my time, which is in Utah. Right now I'm in Africa, but I've actively been looking. And a couple of years ago, not last year was tough because of interest rates. The year before I was able to pick up a couple properties. One of them was a partnership. It was an office complex. And then we bought some other office spaces in St. George where I live. Anyway, I've been talking to this commercial real estate agent in Utah, and he's been sending me these deals, and he sends me, hey, check this out. Hey, this one's going to be coming online. You want to take a peek at it before it goes on LoopNet, blah, 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 blah. And dude, I cannot make the numbers make sense. We're looking at he's like, okay, here's the amount that you can charge for this type of building, per square foot. Awesome. Okay, here's how many square feet it is. You do the math, like, okay, that's $4,500 in rent. Okay, awesome. Okay, plus here's, if you're going to do a triple net, here's the additional money you're going to make. So I'm like, okay, cool. $5,500, let's say. Okay, I'm going to make $5,500 per month. And then I'm like, okay, well, let's say this property is $1 million. Okay, I'm going to put $200,000 down, interest rates 8%, 7.5%. And I'm looking at the numbers and there's just no way to even break even. Not even break even. And I'm like, look, I get it. We're not going to get into all the intricacies of real estate, but like there are other things besides just cash flow, right? There's appreciation, there's depreciation, etc. But it has to break even. I can't be losing money on the deal. I have to at least be breaking even. Somebody else can pay for it. I can go at zero, but I can't just bleed on a deal, right? So we've been talking about a specific deal. Somebody put it under contract and then it came out and then went back under. And then he's like, here, sorry, man, we missed that one. Here's this other one. Take a look. And I just started messaging him like, dude, I can't make the numbers work. He's like, I said, I've called a couple banks. One of them told me 8%. One of them told me 7.5%, but I got to put 30% down, all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, I cannot figure out how to make this thing even break even. Okay. And he just kept coming at me and saying like, well, many of our clients, they look at it from an appreciation and depreciation standpoint. And I was like, yeah, but I can't get it to break even. And then it was like, well, and then, a lot of these guys are taking 1031 exchange money and pay. And it was just like one thing after another. And the thing that frustrated me is like, I get it, bro. You're trying to sell, you're trying to get a commission, you're trying to be optimistic about the future and the current status, the current state of commercial real estate and real estate as a whole. But the fact of the matter is, you lost my trust because you could have just come to me and said, look, dude, now's not a great time to buy. You're not going to break even. All he needed to say is like, look, bro, now if you're trying to like get some kind of cash flow, probably not going to work, right? And all I was getting, it's hard to make the numbers work. Appreciation, depreciation. I'm like, dude, there is no way to make these numbers work. And it frustrated me to the point that I stopped messaging the guy. And I started thinking, am I doing that with this business model? And I get it. When you're in a business, your whole future depends on it. You almost want to be blind to the realities of what's happening, right? And I understand he's being optimistic and him, you get in these conferences, it's like, oh, the rates are going to get better. And here's this. And we're so optimistic as humans, but I would just have appreciated some candor. Okay. So I want to give you guys candor today. This is where this whole thing came from. We're not going to be talking about necessarily commercial real estate, but I want to be the guy, the person in this game that will give it to you straight. That will tell you, hey, look, that is a concern. And even though it's a concern, here's what I'm doing. Here's why I'm still doing it. But yes, that is a concern. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want you guys to be able to look at me, assess what I tell you guys. Number one, be able to tell that I'm actually doing this, that I have done it, that I'm not just speaking from, whatever. And number two, to gain your trust, to know that like, if it's not just, rainbows and Skittles, I'm not going to tell you it's rainbows and Skittles. And there are some downsides. There is some dark sides, if you will, to this game. Okay. So that's where this whole thing came from. So I don't want you guys to ever think if you post a concern, let's say we're in this group and you guys are like, hey, I want to post a concern that I have about this business model. I'm 100% cool with it. Post it. I'll let the admins approve it. We're not going to hide it. We're not going to control the narrative and make it look like this is all whatever, because then it looks like a scam. If you guys have a legitimate concern, search the group, look at what everyone's saying. And if you still aren't resolved, then post it and say, hey, here's my concern. I'm concerned because that GBP, this, that, and the rest. Now, we've had 10 conversations on that, I'm sure. Maybe less, maybe 3, maybe 7. I don't know. There's a ton of different threads talking about this specific topic, but I don't want you guys to feel like this group is a place where you can't talk about the downsides. Now, it's not going to be a place of negativity. You can totally bring it up. So, guys, we're going to be getting real here and talking about some of the downsides. So I'm going to list out, here's how I want to do this. I'm going to list out the downsides that come to mind for me. Are they the only downsides? No. Some of them may not be downsides to you. Some of them may not be concerns to you. Am I going to be covering everything? Maybe not. But I'm going to be covering the ones that I see as downsides. So I want to go over, I've written down 6 things that I think are potential downsides, things that you should be aware of. And then I'm going to talk about each one of them and why, despite each point that I'm going to bring up, I'm still full force, full bore, moving forward. I'm not one of those people that's like looking for the next thing, like, oh, we got to get ready to jump ship. I'm triple down on this. I'm quadruple down on this. And I'm investing into things related to this business that will prove that I am that sold on this business. So this isn't something that I think was a flash in the pan. I am very, very sold on this business, but I do want to be candid with you. Okay. So I'm going to just list the 6. Then I'm going to go through each point and tell you why I'm still moving forward. And then if you have any questions or whatever, I'm happy to address those. Okay. So I'm just going to go through them all one by one really quick. So number 1, here's my 6 downsides. Okay. Dark sides. Number 1, and if you're going to listen to the downsides, you have to stay on to listen to why I'm still confidently moving forward. Okay. That's the deal. Because you can't listen to the downsides and like, oh, hopping off, because you got to hear the end of it. Okay. So number 1, Google update. Okay. You could be, as Steven, our boy Steven said, our guy Steven said, you could be a Google update away from getting completely wrecked. You could. Okay. Google could come out, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, they could be, they're cooking something up. Hey, let's mess it with everybody. And there's going to be the next panda. It's always an animal, right? Freaking, who knows what it is? The eagle update. You could be. Number 1. Okay. Number 2, there are big companies, large companies that are coming into this space because they can see the money that is in this business, in selling leads, in selling local leads. There are large companies. I'm not just talking about Home Advisor. I'm not just talking about Angie's List. I'm talking about, and I'm one guy. I know some large companies backed with financing that are coming into the space. Okay. Something to think about. It's kind of exciting because it reaffirms that it's an interesting space, but also there's that competition, whatever, right? Number 3, and I'm going to explain these a little bit further. I'm just going through them right now. Number 3 is the barrier to entry is too low. Okay. The barrier to entry is too low. And what I mean by that is it's so low. And I don't say that because that means there's going to be a ton of competition, because people are going to come in, they're going to try it for a second, and they're going to go. Who cares? I'm not talking about it because of the competition's sake. But what I mean by that is when a business is so easy to start, you don't take it serious like a real business. Because it's so easy to start a business like this. It's like blogging, right? You could start a blog. Everybody started a blog, dude. Everybody, probably 50% of the population started a blog on something, but nobody finishes it. You can make money on it. You can do affiliate marketing on it. You could sell your, Google AdSense. You could make money on a blog. That could be a business, but it's so easy to start. The barrier to entry is literally $0 that you don't treat it like a real business. You're like, I just started a blog, and you don't do anything. Okay. The barrier to entry is too low, in my opinion. Number 4, another downside, and this goes to back to what Michael said, is if you don't learn how to sell, doesn't mean you have to know how to sell right now, but if you do not learn how to sell, you aren't going to make money. If you do not learn how to sell, you will not make money. That's the reality. Okay. Number 5 is as follows. Just because a website is ranking, or a ranking website, doesn't mean anything if you don't have someone paying for it. Okay. A lot of people get into this business. They think, oh my goodness, I just learned how to do SEO. I know how to do this magic trick and get a website from an idea to page 1, and which is a very cool skill, but doesn't matter if you can get a website to page 1, if you don't know how to get a business owner to pay you for it, which kind of ties back into sales, it's not a business. Okay. It doesn't mean anything. And so the reason I think that's a downside is that people have that just completely backwards in their head. Hey, if I could just learn how to rank a website, if I could just learn SEO, if I could just learn the technical side, I could make money. That's not true. This group, over almost 6,000 people, I would guess, this is again, this is intuition, I would guess half of you have built a website, ranked a website, and are not making money on that website. Okay. And you've experienced that with 1 or more projects, and that's why you're here. Okay. That's why we call this the art of pre-selling, right? We don't call this the art of SEO, the art of pre-selling, selling your websites. Okay. Number 6, and this is one that ties back into physical real estate. is there is no, with these assets, yes, they're assets. Yes, they pay you every month. Yes, they're recurring, etc. There is no depreciation, right? With physical real estate, even if it breaks even, you get depreciation you can use on your taxes. You also get appreciation, which you're building, that's what's so funny is people talk about inflation being a bad thing. It is a bad thing, right? Unless you own assets. If you own assets, inflation's a great thing because all your properties just went up. All the value of your property just went up. And I recently just clicked when I heard this, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. If you owned thousands of properties, and inflation happened, your net worth might have doubled. Okay. So inflation is only bad if you don't own anything, if you don't own any properties. And unfortunately, with this specific business model, unlike physical real estate, these assets are not going to necessarily appreciate. Okay. The website's not going to become worth more money magically. Now, if you get additional traffic, yes, you could force that appreciation, I guess you could say, but it's not going to naturally, because of the market, appreciate. Okay. Those are my 6 downsides. Let me do it one more time. Well, actually, I'm going to go through them one by one. Those are the 6 things. If I'm looking at this and I'm being real with you and I'm being candid and I'm not trying to make it seem like there's all, rainbows and Skittles, these are the downsides. And I'm going to go through and I think about these things and I've talked about these things and I've trust me, I've thought, actually don't trust me because then you'll trust the next guy. I've thought about each and every single one of these things more than you think. Okay. These are the 6 things that I think are the downsides. And before you get into this business, or if you're in this business, you should consider them as well. These are things that you need to think about. These are things that you need to understand. And these are things that you need to pay close attention to. Okay. And you need to make peace with each and every one of these so that you can confidently move forward. Because for me, I've made peace with all of these, even though they are potential risks. I'm still moving forward. Okay. And I have been moving forward. Okay. So let me just tell you really quick why I am still going all in on this business model despite these downsides. Okay. First and foremost, I want to remind you, and I have to remind myself, that this business model is the only business model that checks all the boxes that need to be checked for me of what a perfect business model looks like. Let me repeat that. Rank and Rent, or digital real estate, or website rentals, whatever you want to call it, is the only model I have found that checks all the boxes of the perfect business model, in my opinion. Okay. Here, let me give you a couple examples of what I mean by that. Has recurring revenue. Check. It's asset-based. Check. It allows you to be location independent, right? Location freedom. It's internet-based. Okay. Check. The margins are fat and juicy. Check. Okay. It's scalable. Check. It's recession resistant. Check. Nothing's recession proof. It's recession resistant. I know this because my business has just continued to grow as we've gone into a recession. Okay. And because businesses always need leads. So before we get into the reasons why in the way I've made peace with all of these downsides, I always remind myself that, like, this is the only model that I know of that checks all those boxes. Okay. That's it. And I would probably add, it doesn't require, I don't want to say it's low barrier to entry because I think it's too low, but it's low enough that anyone can really get into it that wants to. So it's like a good thing and a bad thing. And what I mean by that is real estate, physical real estate has so many good things about it, but it costs money to get into, right? It's also difficult. I know it can be done, but it's tougher to do when you're not at the location and to manage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And it's hard to scale because it requires capital. But this business checks everything, guys. It checks all those boxes that I needed to check as the perfect business model. You look at any model out there, there's 1 or 2 that it's missing, right? Maybe it doesn't have recurring revenue. Most of them are not asset-based. Some of them do not have good margins. They're very thin margins, right? Some of them are incredibly difficult to scale. And on and on and on. This one checks all of the boxes. So I got to remind myself, and I want to remind you guys of that first. Okay. So here's how I get through all of these downsides. And this is what I really tell myself. And this is how I'm confidently moving forward. Okay. So the first one that I mentioned, guys, was you are a Google update away from completely getting wrecked. Okay. Here's the reason that doesn't bother me, even though it's something that I think about. Okay. Number one is that the biggest overall reason why I'm not worried about that is because I know and I have learned how to get leads even without organic rankings. I know how to get leads. It's what I teach inside Digital Landlords. I teach you how to do ads, and that's a way to get leads without the organic rankings. Okay. Now, I love the organic rankings. I love being ranked at the top of Google because those leads, once you get there, they're technically free, right? It doesn't cost you every time to get a lead. It doesn't cost you for a click, etc. I love organic, right? But I know that heaven forbid Google came out with an update and half of my websites were affected. I could turn on my ads, crank them up a bit, and I could maintain and keep my clients as I figured out what the heck to do and how to get these websites ranked again, or how to get them back to where they were ranked. Okay. That's the overall thing, is because I know how to run ads, is because I know how to get people to call our phone, these tracking phone numbers on these websites without organic rankings. I sleep at night knowing that heaven forbid an update comes that affects me, I'm okay. Okay. At least I know I'm gonna be able to keep my clients. Okay. The other thing I think about is people have been saying this for years. When I started in 2016, this was a concern. This is something that people are talking about all the time. Google's going to do an update, and this happened here, and this happened here. Guess what? You know what? You know what I do to sleep at night, in addition to remembering that, is I keep it white hat, dude. I make sure that I'm not doing shady stuff. I make sure that I'm not doing stuff that's super gray or stuff that is completely against what Google says we can do. And again, doesn't mean it's illegal, but I don't play in those areas. Okay. I keep it completely white hat. I play very, very safe when it comes to my organic strategy. I am very, very, very safe. And I'd rather take an extra 3 to 4 to 6 months to rank a website and make sure I do it the correct way, then go and do some shady, shifty, gray hat stuff, black hat stuff to get ranked quickly and risk it, because I'm building an empire. I'm building something that's supposed to last for a long time, and I'm planning on lasting for a long time. So because I'm doing it white hat, I don't have that concern. I'm not keyword stuffing. I'm not doing some nasty links from some crazy websites that I'm not supposed to be doing. I'm not doing this trick and that trick and fake reviews here and this and that. I am keeping it as white hat as I know how to keep it. And so it makes it, I don't worry. And does that completely guarantee that I'm not going to be affected? No, because we don't know. But I know that I'm doing everything I can to be white hat, and that therefore I don't worry about it. Okay. And I also remember there's a risk with any and every type of business. Okay. But think about it like this. There's a risk with FBA. Let's say we're doing Fulfilled by Amazon. We're doing our thing, and we're having Amazon, we're selling our product on Amazon. Guess what the risk is there? That Jeff Bezos wakes up tomorrow and he's like, dude, I don't think I'm going to give as much of an affiliate commission. I'm not going to pay as much. Dude, that could happen tomorrow. And all of a sudden your margins go from 30% to 15. And you can't control it. You can't foresee it. You don't know. That could happen. Okay. There's risks with every business. So that's number one. As far as being a Google update away, I've been hearing it for years. Keep it white hat. Learn how to get traffic. Learn how to get leads besides just from organic. And you're going to sleep at night. Okay. And again, that's why we do the ads portion. That's one of many reasons why I teach ads inside of Digital Landlords, how to get leads from ads, in addition to be able to go fast, etc. That's why we do it. Okay. That's number one. Okay. Number two, there are big companies that are coming into the space. Ooh, scary, right? Here's the way that I make peace with that. And honestly, that excites me as much as that it kind of concerns me. Only reason it concerns me is because obviously there's potential competition that could make it a little bit harder, but it excites me that these massive companies, guys, these aren't companies that you're going to know of until it's too late. I know some companies have serious funding, serious money that are getting into not just lead generation, not just local lead generation, but local lead generation using generic websites, using rank and rent websites. Okay. Massive budgets getting into this space. Exciting. and a little bit scary, okay? Because you're like, shoot, man, what if these guys come out and blah, blah, blah. But here's how I make peace with it. Number one, I've been going against HomeAdvisor and Angie's List since I started. Massive companies, trusted to an extent, they know the name, companies, right? I've been going against them and it hasn't affected me, okay? The other thing is I don't believe that this thing is ever going to get saturated. I mean, I know that that's probably a bold statement, and it's probably not true because I'm sure at some level, if you look at the math, there's a way for it to get saturated. But I believe it's so far out, it's not going to affect any of us. Okay, there's new niches being created. I mean, I've made millions of dollars in a couple of niches. I just think it's so. Truly believe it's so far out from being saturated to the point that it affects us that it doesn't matter. Okay. And again, I realized this a few years back. Just because you run into somebody else that's doing this same strategy, that's building simple websites, ranking simple websites, does not mean you can't go into the same city and niche. Doesn't mean that you can't have a client and they can't have a client. There's room for more than one person. Okay. Is it a little bit harder than it was before? Yeah, of course, right? If nobody was doing it, just you, of course it'd be easier. But I don't think this is ever going to reach a point of saturation, at least in the next 10 years, where I think it's going to be a concern. Okay. The other thing, guys, on that note, if you are a good business owner, if you are somebody that provides a top-notch service, you should never worry. Okay. I don't care how many companies come to this space. I don't care how big the companies come to this space. If I have a service and I'm dedicated to that service and I'm providing a good service, I'm not going to worry. Okay. So that's number two, that there's big companies that are coming in the space. Number three, the barrier to entry is too low. Okay. The barrier to entry is too freaking low. And the truth is with that one, I do believe it's too low. I do believe it's too low. And I'll tell you this, when I first got into this, because it cost me nothing, the only thing it cost me to get into this business back in 2016 is the program that I bought. Okay. Because I was one of the people that was like, hey, I'm not going to go and try to learn this on my own. Who do I want to align with? Who has the program? Boom, bought it. I think it was $8,000 I paid. Got in, cost me $8,000. And some of you guys are like, that's a lot. Dude, it's a business, man. But even then, that's all that I had. That's all it cost me to start the business, right? And guess what? Because it was such a low barrier to entry, I got in, got a couple deals, got shiny penny syndrome, and went and did my software run that went nowhere. Okay. I've been through it. I know that for me personally, it's going to attract a lot of people because it is low barrier to entry. But I've seen this enough times that it's going to attract people. They're going to try it for a minute and they're going to go. It's going to attract people. They're going to try it one time. They're going to go. It's going to attract people. They're going to see one video I talk about running ads. They're going to try to throw up an ad. It's going to get suspended. They're done. They're going to try to run an ad. They're going to spend $1,000. Oh my gosh, I dropped $1,000. This doesn't work. And they're going to go. Okay. I don't like that it's low barrier to entry because it does attract a lot of people, but at the same time, I know that people are people and they're lazy, and those same people that are looking for something easy are going to come in, try it, lose a little bit of money, go to the next thing, go to the next thing, go to the next thing, and eventually make their way back. Okay. But it does have a very, very low barrier to entry. It's kind of like carpet cleaning, right? Or let's use window cleaning. Window cleaning is a competitive business, right? It's competitive because literally, how many of you guys, I'm sure if we had a way to raise our hands here, every single one of us knows somebody personally that has a window cleaning company. I swear to you, it's whether it's the local neighborhood kid, whether it's your brother, whether it's your uncle, whether it's your buddy from college. Everybody knows one or two people that have window cleaning companies because the barrier to entry is literally getting a freaking whatever, a couple $100 in cleaning supplies and knocking on doors. That's it. Most of these guys don't even have licenses, and that's where it ends. Okay. So that's something I think about. It is a low barrier to entry, which attracts a lot of people, but I think it pushes people away just as quickly because there is a technical aspect to it and there is a sales component. And so it doesn't stress me out. I've been through it. I got distracted and I came out on the other side. It's not that huge of a deal. Okay. Number 4, if you don't learn how to sell, you are not going to make money. That's the truth, man. If you do not learn how to sell, you will not make money. No matter how good you are at ranking, no matter how technical you are, if you do not learn how to sell, doesn't mean you have to know right now, but if you do not learn how to sell, you will not make money. I don't worry about that at all because I figured out not only how to sell, this product, but I learned how to pre-sell this, and that's exactly what I teach. So that to me is a concern. And I bring that up. It's not a huge concern of mine because I know how to do it. I have a system for it. I have a perfect recipe, if you will, that if you do X, Y, and Z and these niches with this due diligence, that you are going to get a deal if you do it enough times, right? I've seen it. I've done it. I've trained 600 plus people. I've seen hundreds of people get deals. We have students doing $40,000 plus per month. I don't worry about it, but for you that's starting, for you that is thinking about this business model, is if you do not learn how to sell, you will not make money. Okay. Again, you just have to know you're going to have to learn. Doesn't mean you have to know how. Doesn't mean you have to be silver tongue. Doesn't mean you have to be Mr. Bold. Doesn't mean you have to be Mr. This, that, the rest, or Mrs. This, that. You just have to realize you're going to have to sell. Okay. And so you guys need to know that's the reality. If you don't learn how to sell, it's ain't going to be the business for you. Okay. You're going to have to learn how to talk to people. And the good news is we have a very clean, crisp, simple system that we can follow that we teach inside of our program. Okay. Number 5, a ranking website doesn't mean anything if you don't have someone paying for it. This should be a concern for all of you guys that are like, yeah, I just need to learn how to rank a website and I'll be good to go. Nope. Okay. Just because you rank a website does not mean you're going to make money. Okay. And the reason why I say that's a downside is because you can't just go and throw something up and know, hey, if I do this, if I build this website and I do SEO and I get it to rank, I am automatically going to make money. No, you're not. And it's a risk. You're going to go and spend money. And if you're doing it the old school way, which is building the website first, doing the SEO, ranking it over 4 to 6 months, doing the backlinks, and then, it's ranking. Now I'm getting phone calls. Dude, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't guarantee anything. And I'm going to have to tell it to you. So that is something you need to think about. Just because you could spend your entire next 6 months building a website, ranking a website, and it could put $0 in your pocket and only cost you money. Why don't I worry about that? Same reason as the last one. I know how to sell. I have a system for not just selling, but I have a system for selling it before I even start building. So I do not, for those of you that are new, I do not build websites. I do not buy domains. I do not spend money on content at all, not a single dollar, until I have got a client that is willing to pay me money, that has given me a credit card, that has signed a contract, and we are doing business. Now, do I run a little bit of money on ads? Yes. Does sometimes I not get the deal and I waste $100 here, $200 there? Yes. Okay. But I do not go and spend 6 months of my life, build a website, buy a domain, buy a tracking number, just to find out that there's no client that wants it or that I can't rank it or this, that, and the rest. Okay. And number 6, there's no depreciation and there's no appreciation. There is just cash flow with this business model. Okay. That's the truth. Physical real estate, you can buy a property. And just like this example I was talking about, let's say I buy a property and it costs me $2,000. The bank note's $2,000. The bank note plus my overhead, it's flat $2,000. And my tenants pay me $2,000. I am literally at zero, right? I make $0 on this thing. My name is just on the paper that says I own that property, but I'm making no money. However, I can make money from appreciation. If that thing appreciates and inflation continues, and next year, instead of being worth 200,000, that property is worth 300,000. Well, I just made $100,000 in net worth. And if I go to sell it, I could have potentially made money from appreciation. Likewise, that property that's breaking even, that's not making me any cash flow, I could go and I can use depreciation. And I can, by having my wife, for example, have a professional real estate status, we can go ahead and we can do depreciation, accelerated depreciation, and we can do a cost segregation, and we can go ahead and we can use that depreciation to lower the amount of taxes, therefore keeping money in my pocket, right? So there are additional ways that you can benefit from physical real estate. And it's not the case with this. Okay. It's not the case with these. And that's just the truth. There's not depreciation. There's not appreciation. These are the things that you guys need to understand. And so the reality is, and here's how I make peace with that one, guys, is I am still doing physical real estate. Okay. I am still buying physical real estate. I am actively looking at deals. I am actively breaking down numbers. I'm talking to agents and hey, do you have any deals? Do you know what's going on? What's the rates? Talking to bank guys. I am using, as I said in the beginning, digital real estate to pay my bills, get out of the rat race, and then take the additional money on top of my money that just allows me to live, stacking that cash and using that to buy properties. Okay. So I'm doing both. So I'm still going to get the appreciation and the depreciation, but it's going to come from physical real estate. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware that it doesn't have those advantages. Now, some of you guys might be like, which one's better out of physical real estate, digital real estate, etc. And I'll tell you this right now: if you have unlimited cash, and cash is not your problem, and you can go and put money down on properties and whatever, man, physical real estate's great because you have appreciation, you have depreciation, and you have cash flow. You have multiple components. Okay. However, you are going to need a lot of cash, right? And scaling is going to be much more challenging than it is with this. And on top of that, location-wise, it's a little bit more difficult to buy properties when you're not on site and to make sure properties are taken care of when you're not on site. So there's still some disadvantages, but I'm not here to say definitively speaking, digital real estate is better than physical real estate. I think they're both good. And I think if you have unlimited cash and you're trying to get it into assets, go buy real estate, go buy physical real estate, make sure you're getting deals that at the very minimum break even. Of course, you want them to cash flow and etc. But if cash isn't your problem, go do that. But for most of us that are just the average folk, the average peasant like me, we need cash. We need to get out of our job. We need to get out of that thing that's paying the bills. And for me was knocking doors. I had to get out of that and then move to the next thing. Nice. The power just went out and came back on. You guys don't even understand how you guys should appreciate you have power that's steady. Okay. We have to get out of our job first. We have to buy our time back. We have to escape the rat race, and then we can start making moves. Okay. So for us peasants, us everyday people, which I would assume is speaking to the majority, digital real estate is the most predictable, quickest, realistic way to get out of the rat race, and then go into physical real estate. That's it. Those are the things that I think about. Not on a daily basis, but I want you guys as people that are looking at this business model to actually be aware of, look at, and understand. Okay, now 1 second, my cleaner. Tagba! Yeah, boss, can't side no. I did pan walk, but if you want to start, no problem, yeah? You don't know, Yana? Okay, yeah, I did pan talk, but if you want to start, no problem, yeah? Okay, guys, yeah, I did talk, but no problem, yeah? No, you okay? So guys, who has questions? I'm gonna spend 5 minutes really quick, and then we're gonna hop off this call. Who has questions about what we talked about today? Comments, questions, etc. Let me see what we got here. By the way, I want to address this really quick. A lot of people said something about prideful contractors. Yes, that does happen, and not just prideful contractors, but contractors that are broke and contractors that don't have any vision, can't see the future. That is a real thing, and that does happen, and that's something you're gonna have to deal with. But I'm gonna tell you, there's holes in every single business model, and I bet you if you had an Etsy store, you'd probably complain about the people that bought your Etsy products, and oh my gosh, moms are so cheap, and oh my gosh, this and that, and the rest, or oh, I'm selling a product to whatever. I think that complaining about the customer, I do think there's obvious downsides of these contractors, but that's going to be with any business. That's just how I look at it. I've dealt with the same thing, and I got really, really tired of dealing with some of these people that didn't have vision, didn't have any, motivation. All they really cared about was making a buck and being as cheap as possible. So I totally understand what you're saying there. Okay. Okay, month-to-month contracts with your BOs always keep you on your toes. 100% Corey Boyd. I month-to-month are tough. I always like to keep people under a 6-month agreement at all times. As the 6 months approach, I like to roll it into a year and then just keep it on like a year. Okay. Now, you're not always going to get that. They're not always going to agree, but that's just what I try to roll with. But you're 100% right. Okay, maybe he's talking about something else. Hold on. I said month-to-month contracts with BOs. Okay, I think multifamily is the move. Okay, talking about, yeah, multifamily is good. I think it's a good thing too. I just think it's so popular. Everyone's so interested in it that I'm more interested in commercial because everyone's talking about multifamily. Okay. Yes, Angelo confirmed. He's talking about apartments, duplex, etc. Joseph, the Nigerian, What's up, bro? Says that digital real estate over traditional real estate. I think that if you have unlimited money, that physical real estate is a more sure bet. But again, if you have unlimited money, right? Which is what 99.9% of people do not have. And so that's why we need digital real estate to get us to a point we can buy traditional real estate. Okay. Joseph says, I remember in Nigeria when growing up, no light for 3 months. What type of country is that? 100%, dude. It's part of the game, baby. We don't realize that infrastructure is so important and so valuable in some of these countries, but still dealing with that here. Kev says, instead of investing in physical real estate, would investing in digital real estate in highly competitive markets and niches be worthwhile? I would say if you have, it's a good question. I don't think so. I think if you have money and you're stacking money, instead of spending that money trying to rank in these highly competitive ones where you're always going to be trying to stay on your toes and rank, etc., I think you'd be better off to buy physical real estate. I think physical real estate should be part of your strategy. I just do. Whether that's single family, multifamily, commercial, whatever it is, I think that physical should be part. And the reason I like physical so much is it helps you build your net worth, right? It helps you leave something to your family with your legacy, because you buy $100 million worth of real estate, you let your tenants pay for it over the course of 30 years, and 30 years later you wake up and you're worth $100 million, right? It's a simple strategy, and all you're doing is putting your name on banknotes and it just makes sense to me. Okay. Now, Lamine says, stop speaking Creole. Lamine, it's not Salon Man where they watch. He said, last stop for talk the Creole, not for talk English no more. Lamine left me, but na name Lamine so na kono. Lamine, this me brother take me back na kono. Raymond, that was me. LOL. Of course, there's no perfect business. Yes, it's 100% true. Lamine says, I really like the part when you talk about transitions from digital real estate to physical real estate. 100%. You should do both. 1000%. You should do both. You should be doing digital real estate to get out of your job, to get out of the rat race, to pay your bills, have location freedom, to be able to live anywhere you want. And then, in my opinion, you should have a strategy to buy physical real estate. Okay. Herman says, hey, Nick, when you were learning to sell, what was the hardest obstacle you had to overcome in the world of selling? Was it just getting over the fear of rejection, learning to communicate? Yeah, just getting over the fear of rejection. Because once you start doing it, dude, you're going to get deals. If you have a system in place, you have a proper system in place, you have the right scripts, you have even a simple pitch, and you know how to talk to the right people, if you know how to find the right person to talk to, it's just numbers, right? And you're going to get a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And if you study and you try to get better, you're going to get better with reps. The biggest thing is just basically making up your mind and saying, hey, I'm going to get scuffed up today, man. I'm going to knock on that door. I'm going to make that phone call, and I'm not going to just hear yes. I'm going to get a no, and I'm going to get another no. It's going to be messy. It's going to be ugly, and I'm going to get punched in the mouth, and I'm going to get my pride wounded a little bit. But that is less important than having that success and providing that providing that life for me and my family and my legacy. Okay. Michael says digital real estate to digital property, Bitcoin. That's another idea. That's totally another idea. Okay. I just like physical real estate for appreciation, depreciation, net worth, etc. Okay. Guys, thank you guys for being on the call. I really appreciate it. If you have additional questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Again, I'm going to make this announcement. I'm going to drop the link one more time. We have one additional spot left. If you do end up applying for our program and joining the next person, we're doing 5 free done for you websites. It includes a domain, includes a tracking number, purchase. Obviously, it's going to be on your card going forward. The content, the on-page SEO, etc. So you can just focus on selling. So if it's something you've been thinking about, now would be a great time. And for those of you that are like, I'm not there, I'm not interested, that's completely fine. I don't care. You haven't done enough to know what you don't know. Okay. You haven't failed enough to understand how valuable what I teach is. And I was listening to this guy talking about learning Arabic. And I was watching this YouTube video, and he had these students. I think I shared this example before, but he had these students that he was talking to, and he's like, hey, if you want to learn Arabic, he's like, what you need to do is you need to try and read the Quran first. Because once you try and read it completely through, you're going to realize that until you can speak it, you're not going to ever fully understand it. That's going to give you the motivation that you need to learn Arabic, because if you're just going to go out and start learning it in a month, you're going to quit because it's hard. Okay. Likewise, for a lot of you, what you need to do is you need to go and you need to try this. You need to go and try with the framework that I've given to pick a city and niche, to set up a one pager, to run ads, to get the leads, to send them to a business owner, to try and close a deal. And you're going to realize, whether at the beginning, middle, or end, that, oh my gosh, there's a million questions I don't understand. But if you don't understand that, you're not going to see the value in what I'm doing. And I will be here. We will continue to be here when the time is right. So guys, I appreciate you being on the call. Every single Tuesday, we're going to be doing this call. Apologize for pushing this a day back this week. Miscommunication, my bad. And we'll see you guys next week. I'm out.